We present Anything Legal by Wally K. Daly, starring Donald Hewlett and Michael Knowles, with special guests Norma Ronald, Sonia Anholt, David Ryall, Michael Bilton, and Colin Starkey.
Ah, Charles, so there you are.
Morning, George.
Lovely day.
Lovely.
Thought we were going to miss it for once.
Miss it?
7:45.
Oh, no. Lots of time. There's another 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Exactly.
Exactly?
Exactly.
Whew, no.
I fed the facts on our train's performance into the firm's new computer yesterday. It said it's going to be 1 minute and 15 seconds late. Exactly.
The computer?
No, the train, George.
You trust it that much?
Implicitly. Man's best friend used to be his dog, George, but very soon it will almost certainly be his computer.
Feel rather silly taking it for a walk to the local, of course.
Of course. So in 1 minute, the train will chug round the corner right on cue.
Ah, they don't actually do that anymore, as it happens.
What don't?
Train.
Trains?
Yes, they don't.
Don't what?
Oh, chug.
Chug?
Yes, chug into view. Steam trains do, electric trains don't. Chug, that is.
Simply a figure of speech, George.
Ah.
Not in one of your argumentative moods this morning, are you?
No?
Oh, good.
Why?
Why what?
Why do you say argumentative?
Well, in our 15-odd years of travelling up to town together, George, I have occasionally noted your need to verbally nitpick.
Sorry about that. But working with words as I do, Charles, one does become rather conscious of the turn of the phrase. I mean, that's what advertising is all about. Words.
Not products?
And products as well, of course.
Of course.
Now, for instance, in this case, hissing down the track would have been fine.
Hissing down the track?
Yes, that's what electric trains do. Hiss a lot. But it's wet, of course.
Do they?
Oh, yes. Mind you, I can't think what diesels do.
Oh, I dread to think. Right, 30 seconds to go.
Oh, good. Can't wait to be on our way. Yippee!
You all right this morning, George?
All right.
Yes, you're looking suspiciously twitchy.
Twitchy?
Hilary been having one of her turns again by any chance?
Oh, no. She's fine now. Got her headaches back regularly.
That's good. I thought it was just a phase.
Yes, you were right as it happens. All back to normal now. Sleeps like a log.
Oh, good. So why the twitches?
Well, it's contained excitement, actually. The Bovero account.
Bovero?
Well, the commercial I'm working on at the moment. Thought I might have mentioned it.
Oh, that. Yes, you have mentioned it. Once or twice over the last few years.
Months, actually.
Feels like years.
Can't wait to get to the office, to be honest. I came up with a piece of copywriting last week that could become one of the classics of the genre.
You mean it sort of beats as it sweeps as it cleans?
Oh, infinitely better.
Bravo!
Oh, it's nice of you to be so enthusiastic, Charles.
Not your commercial, George, the train. My computer's got it dead on time to the second.
After you, Charles.
Thank you, George.
Come. So, there you are at last.
George.
George, that's the one. Well, don't just stand there. Take a seat.
You're too kind. Nice of you to call me up to the penthouse like this, GJ. Last time I was up here was for a sherry the day your father retired and you took over. How is he, by the way? Well?
As well as can be expected, considering he's been dead for the last 6 months.
Good Lord. I had no idea. What a shock.
Yeah, he's a bit surprised himself.
I never saw any announcement.
No. We kept it quiet so as not to disturb the share price. But enough of that. What's done is done. Now, down to business.
Oh, good. I can hardly wait.
Well, Charles?
Delicious.
Thought you'd like it.
Darjeeling?
No, corner grocery shop.
Ah.
Now, to get back to the other business. As you can imagine, Charles, I'm going to feel dreadful about having to do it, but this computer program of yours does show quite clearly where the overmanning is and which men will have to go.
Well, they're all good chaps, and it'll be sad to lose any of them, but we do live in modern times.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the age of electronics. And if a company called Futuristic Electronics doesn't realize that, who will?
Exactly.
So, How many chaps from the shop floor are actually going?
Over 50.
Good Lord, as many as that?
Afraid so.
That computer's a butcher at heart. Makes Attila the Hun look like a mamby-pamby.
Yes.
And how many office staff are going to balance against the 50 from the shop floor?
Well, here's the amazing thing. We did as you instructed, put everybody's function along with salaries and length of service into the computer, and it churned them round and luckily came up with only the one name as being superfluous.
Oh, good. Well, that's not so bad then, is it? And who is the unfortunate blighter?
You are, Charles. I'm afraid so. In fact, the computer's going to take over your job. And it insists in the name of efficiency that you must go.
Damn computer. It's never liked me from the start.
I wouldn't say that, Charles. After all, it has indicated to me privately that it does intend to organise lots of surprises for your leaving party at the end of the month.
Oh, how jolly thoughtful of it.
And the outcome of it all was, we no longer have the Bovero account.
What? But I was working on the finalised copy only last week.
Ah, yes, the copy. In times of stress, why not undress? Lie down and have a Bovero. Would that be it?
It most certainly would.
It seems a client accidentally got hold of the copy.
Ah, not accidentally, GJ. I was so excited with the concept and its subtle sexual innuendo that I decided to let them share my enthusiasm. I sent them a copy.
Well, they shared it all right. They enthusiastically took that account away from us, plus all the other business of theirs that we handle.
But there must be some way we can get it back.
There is, George, there is. But the price is high.
Really?
Yes. How long have you been with the company now, George?
Well, ever since I left the army, when your father offered me the post here. Not only because we've been in the same regiment all those years, but because I'd done a marvellous job pepping up a poster for a party in the mess.
Yes. Now, George, how can I put this delicately without hurting your feelings? I can't. George, you're fired.
Ah. Don't suppose it'd be the best time to talk about the possibility of a little rise then, would it?
Not really.
Thought not.
But we could perhaps talk about the posters for your leaving party at the end of the month. Father was right. You're good at those.
Oh, thank you, GJ. Nice of you to mention it.
Hello, George. Good to see you.
Hello, Charles. Have a good day.
Oh, yes. Super. And you?
Fine. Yes, I think I could safely say fine without any risk of overstating the sort of day I've had.
Well, that makes it super for me and fine for you. Which in toto equals super fine, doesn't it? Yes, that's what it is. Super fine.
I say, Charles, you all right? You're sounding slightly hysterical.
Am I?
Yes, you all right?
Oh, yes. Fine.
Oh, good. That makes two of us. You're awfully chatty this evening, Charles.
Aren't you?
Yes, me, you. Quite quiet.
Am I?
Yes. Normally about this time in the journey, you chat on about this and that. I listen and nod and smile and have little dozes in the pauses.
Good Lord, little daisies. Do you really? Oh, I never knew that.
Oh, yes. In fact, I'm not terribly sure, but I think the pauses are my favourite part of these going-home conversations.
Oh, it's nice of you to mention it.
So naturally, I noticed.
Notice what?
No chatting.
But of course. A bit of a thought-provoking day, as it happens. Yes, thought-provoking, that's the word.
2 words, as it happens.
Pardon?
Thought-provoking. It's 2 words.
Oh, I never said they weren't.
No, you said that's the word for it.
What is?
Thought-provoking.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more.
Would you like to talk about it?
If you'd really like to, what happened to you?
No, I mean about you. Thought-provoking. Wondered if you'd like to talk about it.
Not for the moment, thanks all the same.
Oh.
Would you?
What?
Like to talk about it?
Yes, but if you don't want to, that's fine by me.
No, about what was thought-provoking about your day.
Ah. No, not for the moment. Thanks all the same. Charles,
George, you haven't by any...
Yeah, of course.
Of course you haven't.
Well, here we are at last. Home, sweet home.
I hardly think one can call the local station home, George.
Well, you know what I mean. The sense of the perilous journey safe behind one, the cares of the city life shrugged off, and one's worries left at the office. The office. Oh, Lord.
The office? Oh, Lord. Bit cryptic, that, George. Makes it sound as though you work in a church. What struck you?
I've just remembered. The first time ever I've actually brought a worry home with me.
Oh, best forget it. Same as I always forget mine. I leave all my worries with the computer. The computer? Oh, I was forgetting.
Forgetting what, Charles?
Nothing at all. I really must dash. See if I can catch Billy before he leaves the garden.
Give him my regards, will you?
Certainly. Righto, off you go to the right, George, and off I go to the left, and see you usual time, usual carriage tomorrow.
Rightio. Bye, Charles. Mind the dog pond.
Of course, George. Bye.
Evening, Major.
Evening, Billy. Well, it's certainly looking lovely out here.
Oh, I'm pleased you think so.
Those tulips are looking splendid, aren't they?
The roses, you mean?
Yes, they're the ones. Splendid, and those gas. What a picture.
Chrysanthemums.
Yes, I thought they might be. Very special. How's it all going more generally? Happy with everything?
Well, it's pretty much the same as usual, really. Your weeds grow up and I chop them down, and then your tomatoes hang down and I tie them up.
Yes. Fascinating, really.
Mother Nature's balance, I call it. She gives you black fly, green fly, slugs, bugs, pests and parasites of every description to irritate you, and then she gives you the beauty of the bowers of flowers to soothe you down again.
Wonderful thing, Mother Nature's balance.
Yes, with me in the middle as referee, of course.
That's exactly the thing I wanted to talk to you about. You see, I've been reading a book, a gardening book.
Oh, what would you want with one of them?
Well, I suppose it's really more of an anti-gardening book than a gardening book, if you know what I mean.
Anti-gardening?
Yes, extolling the virtues of gardens when left to their own device.
Oh, yes.
The magic of a myriad of multifarious weeds. Armies of aphids breeding in peace. Grass fit to hide gargantuan hordes of grasshoppers, etc., etc. Mother Nature being allowed to run totally amok, in fact.
But if you had a garden like that, the last thing in the world you'd need would be a gardener.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Billy. How would finishing at the end of the month suit you?
Are you all right, George? You look miles away.
Sorry, Hilary, dear. I was miles away.
I said, are you all right?
Oh, yes, fine. Delicious pudding, by the way.
Good. The way you've been toying with everything I put in front of you, I thought you might be a bit off colour.
No, delicious. I always loved shepherd's pie in any case. My favourite.
We didn't have shepherd's pie.
Didn't we?
It was toad in the hole.
Good Lord, was it really? I thought the meat was holding together in a very interesting fashion.
Beg your pardon?
Sorry. Lots on my mind. Perhaps I am a bit off colour. Better take a few days off soon. Or even a month. Sort of sabbatical. What'd you say?
No.
Yeah.
It's bad enough on your holiday breaks. You sitting around moping, waiting to get back to the office and to all those young floozies you employ there, with their skirts split up to their backsides and cleavages down to their knees.
How many times do I have to tell you it's not my job to employ the floozies, the girls?
But you use them, don't you?
Hilary, my dear, the way you phrase that question leaves an awful lot to be desired. I do not use them. No using goes on at all.
So why the constant moping during your holidays?
Because we never go away. We haven't had a proper holiday for years.
Well, of course we don't go away. How on earth would my committees go on functioning if I wasn't there to chair them?
Oh, they'd have to go on functioning if we had to sell the house for any reason and move to somewhere slightly less grand, wouldn't they?
Don't be absurd. That will never happen, George. In fact, we really should be moving to something larger. Somewhere I could hold a decent-sized meeting without having to go on my knees to the vicar every time I want the church hall.
I say, do you really?
What?
Go on your knees to the vicar?
Figuratively, George, yes. Why do you think I have that incredibly boring wife of his on every single committee?
Well, I thought you liked her.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. She's insufferable. Stays deliberately underweight to make us all feel small. Now what are you doing?
Just remembered something. Got to have a quick word with Charles.
I wonder sometimes why you two don't just move in together.
Be a lot quieter.
What did you say, George?
Nothing, dear. Come on, Charles, pick it up. There's a good fellow. Ah, good.
Hello?
Charles?
Yes?
George here.
I know, I recognise your voice. I thought it might be the office, actually.
Whatever would they ring for? You've only just left them.
Well, I've only just left you, but you're ringing, aren't you?
I wondered if Billy's with you today by any chance.
Of course he is. I told you I was dashing back to try and catch him. You're not going potty or anything, are you, George?
No, I'm fine. Don't suppose you'd ask him to pop over here when he's finished there, would you?
What on earth for? You're Tuesdays and Thursdays this week. I'm Monday, Wednesday and Friday. It's next week he's with you on the Wednesday.
I know all that, but I wanted a little chat today.
George, are you going to be on that telephone all night? I've got to talk to my committee.
I've got to ring off now. Hilary's got some urgent business. Would you ask him to call in on his way to the station?
All right. By the way, George, have you eaten?
Yes. I remembered it as shepherd's pie. Apparently it was toad in the hole.
Probably the meat was a bit stiff.
Probably.
Pity that. I was thinking of going round to the Dog and Duck for a quick snack.
Marjorie at a meeting?
Yes. Starvation in the third world.
I think Hilary's got her Weight Watchers later. I might pop round and join you when she needs.
Fair enough.
George, I'm waiting.
Better go. You'll send Billy?
I'll go and catch him before he leaves. Bye.
Evening, Harry. Hello, Charles. This is a nice surprise. Bit unusual seeing you this early in the week.
I'm running away from the tin opener.
Wife out.
Meeting. Thought I'd come and sample one of your baskets of chips.
Anything in particular alongside the chips?
No, whatever's next in line will do. Always tastes the same in any case. Scampi, chicken, sausage, they all come out tasting like wickerwork.
Never touched them myself, so I wouldn't know.
You're a sensible man.
And what'll you have to wash the taste away?
Oh, just a drop of the usual.
Double?
Please. Oh, no, on second thoughts, best make it a small one.
Hello. Starting to feel the economic pinch, are we?
No, we are not, Harry. And that's not the sort of remark one wants to hear in one's own local.
Oh, don't you joshing, Charles?
Well, it doesn't do in the present climate to josh over something as potentially worrying as that.
Talking about worrying, what about George there? Looks as though he's carrying half the problems of the Western world on his shoulders.
Better bring him as usual as well.
Single?
No, a double. Looks as though he needs it. Over here, George.
Evening, Charles.
There's a drink on the way.
Oh, good. I could use it.
Did Billy arrive all right?
Yes.
Everything all right?
Fine.
Well,
Well, what?
why the break with the routine after all these years? Sending for Billy out of turn, as it were.
Oh, that.
Yes.
Well? The clematis.
Clematis?
Yes, and the wisteria, of course.
Of course. So was the clematis and wisteria, was it?
Yes. And beside those two things, I let him know that I'm sacking him at the end of the month.
What?
Yes, apparently I really must get some exercise.
Good Lord, what an amazing coincidence.
You mean you've got to get some exercise too?
No, I'm letting mine grow wild, actually.
Your body?
No, the garden. I told Billy tonight he'd have to go at the end of the month.
I never. Still, the end of the month's a long way off. He'll find something.
Of course he will. As you say, absolute ages to the end of the month.
Ages. Simply ages.
Order, please. Order, please. The manager would like to speak.
Yes, thank you. This is, of course, a sad, but at the same time joyous occasion. Sad that we're saying goodbye to a comrade who's been with us now for many years. Joyous in that the quality of the clock we've all clubbed together to buy you to mark your many years of service, Charles, is a fair indication of how much we will miss you from time to time.
Charming.
Yes. And now we have a real surprise for you, Charles, a special treat for an auspicious occasion. I can now reveal that the computer has been connected to a voice box, so it too can give a final message of goodwill to send you on your way. I simply press this button here, and this one here, yes, and it will give you its final message.
All I have to say to Unit 620ACL, now defunct, is...
As you all know, in advertising, it's a tradition to get on, say your piece quick, get off. If it can't be said in 30 seconds, you've lost your audience and the message along with it. So here goes. Then we can get down to the important part of this farewell occasion, the booze, the banter, and the birds. Now, life is a campaign, and 20 years is a long time to run any campaign. It had its ups and downs, its highs and lows, but now it's run its course. Our companion has bravely decided to throw in the sponge and move on to pastures new. But of one thing you can be sure, old friend, your name will live in our hearts and minds forever. So let's lift our glasses and drink a toast to,
George.
George, that's the one.
George, that's the one.
And I look on this not as the end of a career, but as the start of a new adventure. Not as a sorrow, but as a super opportunity for starting afresh. And to the computer, who has decided to take over my function here, what else can I say but...
I didn't write hands that do dishes can stay soft as your face. And I didn't write don't forget the fruit gums, Mum. But I did write much copy over these many years, of which I have been justly proud. Classics like, in times of stress, why not undress, lie down and have a bobberoo. Being just one example.
Get on with it, George.
Just one last thing. Many of you I know have wondered over the years what the G actually stood for in GJ's name. I think now's the time I should enlighten you.
Don't you dare, you little creep.
Being so long with the firm and being a friend of his late father, I actually know the answer to that particularly well-kept secret.
Pull him down from that table. Stop him, somebody.
The G in his name stands for Geraldine. His name is Geraldine.
Boy, you! Watch out! You're too late. It's moving.
Oh, goody. Just made it.
Good Lord, Georgie boy.
Well, I've been blowed. It's Charles. What on earth are you doing here at this ungodly hour?
I've just been to a little leaving party for some poor, unsuspecting soul. The computer's gone and shot down in his prime.
How awful.
Oh, sad case. Dared tell his wife, apparently. Sacked his gardener to try to keep the costs down a bit.
That's terrible.
Disastrous. How about you?
Oh, dear, dear. My job's very secure.
Oh, of course it is. But why the late hour and a suggestion of having supped slightly more well than wisely?
It's the same thing as you, really. Some poor blighter didn't get his campaign right. Early retirement thrust upon him. Willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly?
That's the chap.
How about the gardener?
Sacked him straight off.
Gosh. Must be murder being a gardener these days.
Yes.
How about the Daly?
No, he's kept her on. Otherwise, the wife would notice and guess something very serious was afoot.
Same with me.
Pardon?
Same with mine. Chap got computer-sided.
Computer-sided?
Being murdered by a computer. That's what it's called. Computer-sided.
Is it?
Yes, past tense, computer-sided.
Oh, is it?
It is now.
How interesting. What was I talking about?
Your chap, the one who got his campaign wrong.
Oh, yes. Doesn't know what he's going to do. Dared tell the wife. Bit of a tartar, apparently.
The chap?
Yeah, the wife.
Well, they usually are.
Tragic.
Oh, tragic. In fact, so tragic that if one messon wasn't made of sterner stuff, well, I'm almost been moved to tears.
I know exactly what you mean, Charles. That poor blighter from the office. And the poor blighter from my office. Not daring to tell anyone, not even his best friend, of his terrible predicament.
I'm sure my poor blighter's exactly the same. Not even his best friend. Life is so unfair, George.
So unfair.
George, I'm afraid you're going to have to forgive me, your son. But I'm going to have a jolly good blub on their behalf.
So am I.
Oh, this poor chap's going to do, George.
Who on earth is going to come to their rescue?
Nobody. Well, George, parting of the ways.
Better wait till we're off the platform and through the station, perhaps.
Good thinking. Wouldn't do to split up before it's time.
We'll never split up, Charles. We've faced some tricky situations in our life together, and we'll face trickier ones than this yet.
What's tricky about this? We've both only got a short walk home.
Hilary.
Oh, yes, Hilary. Tricky. At least she's got her headaches back.
That's a blessing. About Monday, Charles.
What about Monday?
I was just thinking. A new day, new month. You will be on the usual platform, usual time, for the usual train, as usual.
Why do you ask?
Nothing. I'm just wondering if you're going to be there.
Well, won't you be on the usual platform at the usual time?
Well, I'm not going so far as to say that I won't, no.
Oh, good. Wouldn't be the same without having you there, as usual.
Fine. I'll be there.
In fact, if I was your chap at the office, that's exactly what I'd do, come to think of it.
Chap?
The one who got heave-hoed.
Oh, him.
Yes, you know, brolly, briefcase, cheerio, see you this evening, darling, and then home, usual time for slippers, sherry, and evening, darling.
Would you, if you were him?
Oh, yes, it's the only answer. Till something turns up, that is.
But what would he do to fit his time during the day?
I'll think of something. Provided it's legal, of course.
Of course. Anything in particular?
No, just anything legal.
How jolly thoughtful of you. And you don't even know the chap.
No, I don't, do I?
I'll pass the advice along. Quiet word in his ear. Oh, and here we are.
Righty-ho, off you go to the right, George, and off I go to the left. And as decided, see you usual time, usual carriage on Monday.
Righty-ho, look forward to that.
And we.
And whatever you do, Charles, make sure you mind the...
What a damn stupid place to leave a duck pond.
Bye, Charles. See you Monday.
You've been listening to Anything Legal by Wally K. Daly, starring Donald Hewlett as Charles and Michael Knowles as George, with Norma Ronald as Hilary. Also this week, Tony Anholt featured as GJ, David Ryall as the manager of Futuristic Electronics, Michael Bilton as Billy, and Colin Starkey as Harry the Publican. The theme music was written by Jim Parker, and the program was produced by John Fawcett Wilson.
Anything legal,
But nothing naughty, nasty.
or not nice.
Oh, Lord, no.
Anything legal, and we are going to take our own advice.
What are we going to do, Charles?
Anything legal.
Anything legal, and we are going to take our own advice.
What a good idea, George.
We present Anything Legal by Wally K. Daly, starring Donald Hewlett and Michael Knowles, with special guests Renu Setna, Jon Glover, Ron Pember, and Sonia Fraser.
Well, so here we are, Charles.
Here we are.
Monday.
Oh, that. Monday.
Yes, Monday.
Oh. Oh, dear. I wonder why God in his infinite wisdom decided to start the week on such a dreadful day as Monday.
Lord knows.
You're probably right. Friday or Saturday would have been better. Or at least livable with. In fact, to be honest, I quite like Friday and Saturday. In the normal course of events, that is.
Me too, usually.
Usually?
Well, Hilary was a bit tetchy this weekend.
Ah.
One of her committees asked her to stand down as chairperson. Stormy meeting, apparently.
No. How dreadful for her. This weather, particularly.
Yes, but it was her own fault.
Really?
I did warn her not to wear her mink to the meeting.
Too affluent for Save the Starving Millions, actually.
Oh, not that one, the other one.
Oh, the Save the Animals from Being Turned into Fur Coat Sponge.
That's the one, yes.
Yes, that would go some way to explaining it.
Yeah. How about you?
Me?
Well, the weekend.
It's like a little clump of Mondays all glued together, to be honest.
I didn't know Mother-in-law was visiting this weekend.
Neither did I. Margaret invited her without letting me know.
But unsporting of her.
That's what I said. As I explained to her, it was not unlike walking unaware into the lion's den and then being cuddled to the ground by a Sherman tank.
How did she take the comparison?
Not too pleased. Still, it's over now. Monday morning again, thank goodness. Bit late this morning.
Are you?
No, it is. The train.
Oh, of course, the train. Still, no rush.
No rush? That's not like you, George. You're usually all a-quiver with eagerness by this time, just dying to dash back to your office to work on your what's-his-name campaign.
The Bothereux account.
That's the one. Strange you're not being all a-quiver.
Oh, I'm not all a-quiver because, well, that one's finished for the moment.
Oh, well, that's a relief. Be good not to hear you continually saying, in times of stress, why not undress, lie down and have a Bothereux.
You remembered. I told them it was a memorable line.
It's not surprising I've remembered it, George. You've been saying it every day for months.
Weeks.
Felt like months. Ah!
What?
The train. Here it comes at last. Now we can get on with our day.
Yes, thank goodness for that. I say, Charles.
Yes?
I'm not interrupting, am I?
I don't know. Just reading my paper.
That's what I find hard to credit. You're looking inside your paper.
Beg your pardon?
You're looking inside the paper instead of outside.
Outside?
In the 15 or so years we've spent travelling up and down to town together, this is the very first time I've ever seen you look inside your paper, Charles.
Is it?
Yes, you do the crossword on the outside, but you've never actually opened it. The paper, that is.
Good Lord. Well, I never.
But why on earth are you looking at the jobs vacant column?
Jobs vacant column? That's easily explained.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, good. One dreadful second I thought you might actually be looking for a new job.
Oh, no.
How silly of me.
Absolutely.
I mean, that computer study you've been doing of your firm's need will take years to complete, I suppose.
No, it was finished last month, as it happens.
Gosh, how awfully efficient of you.
Not me, it was the damn computer.
Really?
Yes. It's been getting hold of my paperwork every night after I leave the office. It finished the job in a few minutes as soon as it collected the necessary data from my last appraisal.
I say, that's a bit churlish.
True. Trouble is, it's very hard to work out just how to chastise that particular type of churl.
Could always kick it in the chips, I suppose.
Yes, that's the thought. Difficulty is deciding which bits are its chips.
Yes, I suppose it would be. So what happens now?
Same as you, really.
Me?
Yes, between projects.
Oh, yes, I see. Yes, between projects.
Something will turn up at the firm, that is, always does.
Oh, yes. And the advertising agency, come to that, always does.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Have your tickets ready, please. Many thanks. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, you are too kind. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
And how are we this fine, beautiful British morning?
Fine, thanks.
Very well, thank you. And you?
Oh, extremely well, thank you. My wife is not so hot, but then again, she never was. But as to myself, who could ask for any more of life than I received? The chance to stand around all day with open palms, receiving offerings from all who pass, chatting to throngs of happy, smiling, well-served passengers. Allah is indeed kindly a deity. Thank you, sir.
Not been in the job long, have you?
No. Today is indeed my first day as member of the fine Brotherhood of Ticket Collectors. A brotherhood of which I am justly proud to belong. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
How nice in this day and age to discover someone who truly enjoys their new job.
How nice in this day and age to discover someone who's actually been given a new job. Thought British Rail was cutting back.
Oh, yes, indeed they are. Very severe. Right down to the very sleepers themselves.
What, on the tracks?
No, in the workshops.
How did they come to give you a job?
Oh, no. British Rail didn't give me the job.
No?
No, my brother-in-law. He gave me the job. That is until he returned from our homeland.
India?
Clapham.
Really?
Oh, yes. He decided to chuck in collectors, cap and clippers for a while. Dash it, he said. Very British, my brother-in-law. Dash it, I need a holiday. Keep my job warm until I get back, Billy. And here I am, keeping it warm.
But don't they mind?
Don't who mind?
Your boss, the foreman, whoever it is.
Oh, them. They don't mind. They might mind if they knew, but they don't know, so they don't mind. They just greet me friendly. Hello there, Basil, they call. And I call back just as friendly. Hello there, boss. No, they don't mind.
I thought you said your name was Billy.
My name is Billy, but my brother-in-law's name is Basil.
Oh, I see. You actually look like him.
Oh, no, thank goodness. But you know the old saying,
They all look alike to me.
That is right. Now, gentlemen, if I could kindly see your tickets.
Oh, yes, sorry. Here we are.
Just enjoying our little chat.
Very good. Now, off you go and have a jolly lovely day's work. And perhaps I will be lucky enough to see you on your return journey.
Yes, indeed.
Tickets, please. Have your tickets ready, please. Thank you.
It's an awfully nice chat.
Charming. Interesting arrangement it is, don't you think?
Certainly is. 2 men to every job. Turn and turn about, as it were.
You could provide the answer to unemployment at a stroke.
There's answers needed, Charles.
Yes. Still, you're all right, George. There's always a need for advertising, even if it's only to tell people how bad the economy is.
Oh, yes, I'll be all right. Not as all right as you, of course. I mean, computers now, that's a growing industry.
So they say. Anyway, here we are, George. Parting of the ways.
Yes, indeed.
Off you go to the left and off I go to the right.
No, Charles.
What?
You've got it wrong. It's off you go to the left, and off I go to the right.
Goodness me.
Fancy getting it wrong after all these years. You're all right, are you, Charles?
Yes, I can't think what came over me. Anyway, see you this evening, George.
Let's look forward to that. Bye, Charles.
What on earth am I going to do to pass the time? A whole grey day ahead of me and nothing to ameliorate the tedium. Totally functionless in the midst of the mighty metropolis. No job to go to. Damn computers. I'll never speak to them again. If it hadn't been for that computer, I'd still have a job to go to. George was right. I should go round there and kick it in the chips. Why on earth didn't I have the courage to tell Marjorie I'd been made redundant? No, on second thought, perhaps not. Might set her mother on me again. On the other hand, I could definitely have told George. After all, he is my best friend. I mean, if he'd been made redundant, he'd tell me straight away without the slightest hesitation. No doubt about that at all.
Why on earth didn't I have the courage to tell Charles I'd been given the old heave-ho? After all, he's my best friend. I could have told him. There's no shame attached to being made redundant. No shame at all. We unemployed are just innocent victims of an economic road accident with that road hog Maggie at the wheel. Women drivers. Besides which, it's only temporary. I'll have another job in no time. No time at all. I couldn't face telling Hilary, of course. Much better to carry on as normal. Pretend I still have a job. Till I have one, that is. But where does one get a job? I haven't looked for a job for simply years. But of course, the job centre. That's the answer. The managerial and executive branch. Ah, but I do envy Charles. He doesn't know how lucky he is.
Oh, this is my office, Mr. Parker. Do go in, will you?
Thank you.
Sorry to keep you waiting so long, but we are rather snowed under at the moment.
I can imagine.
Do take a seat.
Thank you.
Now, this is your first time, is it?
I'm sorry?
Your first time here?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's very nice of you to call and see us like this, Mr. Parker.
My pleasure entirely.
We at the managerial and executive section of the job centre do like to see an occasional new face. Being totally frank and honest, there's not a lot I can offer. The country is actually awash with redundant managers and executives at the moment.
Is it?
Oh, yes, we're rushed off our feet. As I say, the country is flooded with ex-executives and menless managers, and we're drowning in the overflow.
So it would seem managerial and executive vacancies are not looking very good just at the moment.
Well, you could say that. Disastrous would be nearer the mark, but not very good will do for the time being.
I see. So what would you suggest as an option while waiting for a suitable executive position to arise?
Well, why not just retire instead? I mean, lots of our more sensible executives are.
Retire? But I'm only 55-ish.
Gosh, as old as that.
55-ish isn't old.
It is these days.
I'm not ready to retire. It's preposterous.
Not that preposterous. Lots of people are retiring early these days. Lots to be said for it. Retire while you're young enough to enjoy it.
No, thank you. I'll stick to work if that's all the same to you.
Well, suit yourself, but you mustn't be an old stick in the mud, you know. 1984 has arrived at last. Ever thought of security?
Well, I always make a point of double locking the front door when we go on holiday.
Working in security. Lots of jobs in that line.
What sort of thing?
Patrolling premises, keeping your eye out for villains, barking like an Alsatian if you spot anything suspicious, clubbing down anyone you unexpectedly come across in your perambulations of the premises with your company-issued cosh. You know, that sort of thing.
No, wouldn't do. I'm not very good with blood.
Always close your eyes.
No, security's not really on. Not for me.
Well, let me see. How do you feel about prophylactic limb fitter?
Prophylactic limb fitter?
Yeah?
No, I don't think so, somehow.
Well, four-door minicab driver. Maid? Night porter?
Strange. Never realised a job centre would look quite so colourful. Screens and notice boards, different coloured cars to highlight different jobs. Rather thinly spread, though. Still, can't complain. There's a job to be had if one isn't work shy. Let me see. Night porter. No, Hilary wouldn't understand. Four-door minicab driver. No. Prophylactic limb fitter. Prophylactic limb fitter? Gosh. What's that? Where on earth? Me?
Yeah, you. Come over here.
What is it?
What's your mate?
Oh, how do you do? Can I help you?
No, but I could probably help you.
Me?
Yeah. How'd you fancy a job?
Of course I fancy a job. That's why I'm here.
No, not these tuppeny-halfpenny bottle washer jobs you see advertised here. I mean a good, well-paid real job.
I'm very interested.
Black market, of course.
Black market?
That's right.
You mean there's a black market in jobs?
Yeah, that's my job. Black market job broker.
But that's disgraceful.
No, it's not. It's the spirit of free enterprise afloat in the world, just like Maggie wanted. And that's me, full-time black market job broker. Well, they've always had it in the upper echelons. All I'm doing is applying it lower down the scale, working classes and upwards. So what do you say? Fancy a job?
Well, how much?
Well, it depends what you're after.
Advertising.
Pricey. Still, you let me know the name of the company you want to work for, and we'll have you working there in next to no time.
How on earth can you manage such a thing?
Well, it's easy. I just ring up the head of personnel there and say that you will bet him £1,000 he couldn't get you a job in his company.
That's bribery.
That's right, yeah. And once you've got the job, I ask him for £500 to keep his mouth shut.
But that's blackmail.
That's right, yeah. Oh, it's a great combination. Bribery and blackmail. Can't go wrong, mate.
Goodness me.
Interested?
Certainly not. I've never heard anything so shocking in my life.
Well, suit yourself. Excuse me, would you? There's a man here from the local factory coming to let me know what he needs in the way of workers this week.
Well, I'll be blowed. I've never heard anything so disgraceful in my life. I'll certainly never use his service, that's for sure. Unless I'm really pushed, that is.
How about the catering trade? You know, washer-upper, clearer-upper, sweeper-upper?
No, none of those are on, I'm afraid.
Well, that's it. It appears as if we've drawn a blank, doesn't it, Mr. Parker?
Seems so, yes.
Oh, there is one other possibility that's worth considering, of course.
Oh, what's that?
Go into business by yourself.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't know where to start.
No, don't be too hasty. Being your own boss is becoming a growth industry at the moment, and the government, in its wisdom, has seen that and funded accordingly.
Really?
Oh, yes. No unemployment benefit, but you get a starting up your own business allowance, which is almost double the dole.
Good Lord, but why? Why more money?
You scratch our backs, we'll scratch yours. Keep off our unemployment statistics and we'll make sure you're justly rewarded.
How jolly thoughtful of you.
Well, it is another option, Mr. Parker. Something to consider in your quest for a new job.
Yes.
Well, that's it then. I've got your name and particulars, of course, and if anything suitable turns up, I'll be in touch.
How thoughtful.
Oh, we do our best despite the troubled time. Oh, as you go out, would you be kind enough to ask the next executive I'm about to disappoint to come in?
Of course.
Goodbye, Mr. Parker.
Goodbye, and thank you. Oh, there's only one waiting. Excuse me, I wonder if you mind going in. Good God, George!
Charles?
What on earth are you doing here?
What on earth are you?
Staff.
Pardon?
Staff. Firm's taking on extra people on the computer side, hence my presence here being in charge, that sort of thing.
Of course. How silly of me not to guess.
And you, George?
Same sort of thing. Extra copywriters. Got to explain the sort of accounts they'll be working on.
Of course, yes. Well, I must get on. Back to the office, get on with the job in hand. Time is money.
Yes. And I'd better pop in and state my requirements before dashing back to my office to get on with my new accounts. Well, Charles, see you on the usual train, I suppose?
I may be going back a train or two earlier.
Really? We've never ever done that before. You sure everything's all right, old friend?
I wish you wouldn't constantly keep using that word old, George.
Old?
Yes, old friend, you said. I'm not that old, George.
Of course you aren't.
Why on earth is everyone going on about my age today, as if I was about to go gaga and have bits drop off any second? I'm only 55-ish, damn it. A slip of a lad.
Ah, is that the reason you may be going home early?
Reason?
Oh, you know, out of sorts, a bit tetchy, that sort of thing.
No, that's not the reason. On reflection, perhaps I won't get the early train. Take an awful lot of explaining to Marjorie.
What would?
Things. See you on the usual train then, George.
Good. Bye, Charles. See you this evening.
What a day. Absolutely endless. Seems to have been going on forever. Must be murder being a tramp. Done the job centre, done the dozing in the library, done the sitting in and walking through the park. What on earth's left to do? Of course, a cup of tea. I should have thought of that before. And there's the answer. A cafe over the road. Peeling paint and tomato sauce on every table, I shouldn't wonder. Still, at a sip a minute, 2 cups of tea should get me through nicely to home time. Yes, just what I need. Heavenly, cheery, chip-smelling haven.
Yes, dear?
Good afternoon. A cup of tea and a curly bun, please.
Oh, we don't do curly buns, dear. Only curly sandwiches.
Of course, how silly of me. A sticky bun, perhaps.
Oh, I wouldn't advise it, sir. The gentleman over there just brought a sticky bun back with some very suspect currants sticking on the surface.
What was the problem?
Wasn't supposed to be a currant bun.
Just the cup of tea, then.
No currants in them or on them, come to that. Leastways, shouldn't have. But it was very sticky, if you get my meaning.
Oh, how disquieting for him. Thank you. Which of the gentlemen was it?
The rather morose-looking one in the far corner, dear. In the smart suit with the leather patches on his sleeve.
Which one? Oh, I see. Good Lord! He mustn't see me here.
Tom.
Oh, no.
Tom?
Oh, hello, George. I'll come over. Oh, what a coincidence.
Look, Charles, don't say a word.
What?
No, just let me blurt it out quickly while I've got my courage up. I can't take any more deception. I've just got to get it off my chest, Charles.
Get what off your chest, George?
I'm out of work.
No.
Yes, I've been sacked. I should have told you sooner. I've known for over a month. My campaign went sour on me. Bovero put the boot in. But I felt I must keep it secret. I was strangely ashamed, Charles. Ashamed.
Oh, of course, ashamed, George. Half the blooming country's out of work. It's spreading like a craze.
Sort of hula hooping.
What?
Hula hooping?
Well, I suppose you could say that. Anyway, I caught the craze last month. I didn't like to tell you either. Thought you had enough worries already. What with Hilary and her committees.
You mean you were hula hooped as well?
No. Computer-sided.
Computer-sided?
Yes. Killed off by my computer.
Good Lord, not your faithful computer.
Not faithful, George. Treacherous.
It was your brainchild.
That's the one. Shades of Macbeth, I'm afraid.
But that means you're redundant as well.
In a word, yes. I also was keeping it a secret. It's dreadful of me, I know, but there's no going back.
But that's marvellous.
Thank you, George. Nice of you to be so enthusiastic about my mission.
Don't you see? Now we have each other to share our depression with. A burden shared is a burden halved. A friend also in need is a friend double indeed.
You haven't by chance been listening to Thought for Today, have you, George?
No.
Never guess.
So that's it then. All deception behind us.
Yes, indeed. I feel better already.
So do I, Charles.
So let's cut through the euphoria and face the problem squarely.
Very good, Charles.
We haven't got a job. We want a job. But no worthwhile jobs are available, right? Right. So, how much have you got, George?
Got?
In monetary terms.
Well, I've got what's left of this sandwich money that Hilary deals out every day. About 32 pence.
No, George, real money. Could you last 6 months if it came to the pinch? You know, paying Hilary the housekeeping, covering the bills, and keeping Harriet the dog and duck off your back?
Well, just about.
Good. So could I. That'll do for what I have in mind.
And what do you have in mind?
What that chappie at the job centre suggested. Jump on the bandwagon and head for the new growth industry.
What's that, Charles?
Self-employment, George.
You mean working for oneself?
That's the answer. No jobs available, so we create our own. Get into business for ourselves. Give ourselves 6 months to make a go of it. We couldn't fail.
Doing what?
Service, George. Service. That's the answer.
Is it?
Yes. The service industry is the growing thing. Everybody in the country is doing things to and for each other.
And in the towns as well?
Yes, apparently.
Trouble would be deciding what service to give, of course. I mean, they all seem pretty well catered for.
There is an answer to that, George.
Thought there would be.
We let people decide themselves what service we give them.
Pardon?
Well, we simply give ourselves a nebulous name, and people could ring up and test us out, see if we would do what they wanted.
You've lost me, Charles.
Supposing we were called, say, Services Unlimited. We could do any service requested of us.
Doesn't worry you that it sounds a bit French lessons givenish?
I beg your pardon?
You know, not tying lessons by naughty nautical girl, chair bottoms recaned, etc., etc.
Not tying lessons? Chair bottoms recaned? George, what on earth are you blathering on about? Getting hula hooped appears to have unhinged you a trifle.
Soho type shop window advertising.
I still don't get the connection.
Did you ever look at the naughty ads in the newsagents' windows, Charles?
Certainly not. Do you?
Me? No, never.
Well, I'm pleased to hear it.
But I do happen to know that Services Unlimited could be open to slight misunderstanding. Could, in fact, be tainted with a touch of illegality.
Oh, no, we couldn't have that. Whatever we do has got to be strictly legal. I mean, it's going to be bad enough living a life of deception as far as Hilary and Marjorie are concerned without doing anything that smacks of illegality.
Surely we've got to tell them they're our wives.
It's because they're our wives that we don't tell them.
You're right.
Anyway, what do you think, George? Are we in business?
Well, it's a jolly interesting thought.
Interesting? On reflection, George, it's superb. We should have done this years ago.
Gosh, good to see you looking enthusiastic, Charles.
Enthusiastic indeed. It's a wonderful opportunity for business.
Oh, good.
Now, the one thing that is essential, a good name to hang our services on. That's what we must search for, George. That's a priority.
On the train home, perhaps?
What?
Well, if we don't dash, we'll miss our train.
Good Lord, as late as that? Doesn't time fly when you're setting up in business? Don't hang about, George.
Come along. Get your tickets ready for checking. No one is going through these gates without having the tickets checked. Now keep it moving, keep it moving. We all want to get home tonight.
Ah, good evening, Billy. Remember us?
Don't you go first naming me, sir. Ticket collector is my title, and don't you go forgetting it.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry about that.
Ticket collector it is then.
Had a fairly typical first day, have you?
Typical? This is what you call typical. Huh. I've never known anything like it. I thought smiling and happy was the right way to be in this job. But all I get for my efforts is scowls. The bigger the smile I give them, the bigger the scowl I get back in return. Huh. That's so stuffing to you, matey, I thought. I can scowl as good as the next man if it's required to do so. And then you know what they do? They keep pushing their grubby little tickets at you. Chewed up, dog-eared, dirty little stubs.
How awful.
This is no job for a sensitive grown man who likes his fellow human being. Very soon, I decide to throw in my clicker and go home.
Clapham?
India. And then I'm going to find a job that does not involve meeting people. I don't care if it's anything legal, I would do it.
say? What was that again?
I said anything legal would do.
But of course it would. Eureka!
Oi, don't you go calling me names, sir. I've had just about enough of that today.
What is it, Charles?
Don't you see, George? Billy has got it.
He's got what, Charles?
The perfect title for our business.
Ticket collector?
No. Anything legal.
Anything legal?
Yes, that's what we'll call ourselves. It covers absolutely everything. Anything legal.
But of course. Perfect.
You've been listening to Anything Legal by Wally K. Daly, starring Donald Hewlett as Charles and Michael Knowles as George. Also this week, Renu Setna featured as the ticket collector, Jon Glover as Mr. Rollings, Ron Pember as the black market job salesman, and Sonia Fraser as the cafe waitress. The theme music was written by Jim Parker, and the program was produced by John Fawcett Wilson.